Hi, this is a quadratic equation, of course, and we cannot factor it since it's a 1x squared, meaning we need two numbers that multiply out to 5. There's nothing out there except 1 and 5, and those don't add up to 12. So this is a new approach, and it's called the completing the square technique. It's a nice word, technique. If we separate the x part, or the x squared and the 12x, from the purely numerical part, from the 5, we can do that by taking away 5 from both sides. And notice I'm leaving a big parking space here because I'm going to add something there in just a moment. Now the number I'm going to add there is 36. I did not just pull 36 out of thin air. Here's where I got it. I take half of the x coefficient. Again, notice it's a 1x squared. And when it's a 1x squared, all we have to do is take half of the x coefficient, which of course would be 6. And then you take that half of the x coefficient and square it. That tells you what to put in that parking spot. And of course, if you're adding 36 to the left side of the equation, you have to add 36 to the right-hand side of the equation. Now, what in the world did we do that for, you might think? It's because this is now a perfect square trinomial, which you might have a fuzzy memory of from about 5 weeks ago when we were factoring, a factoring lesson. Notice this is the square of x, this is the square of 6. If you do x times 6 and double it, you get the middle term. You might remember that. So we can rewrite this now. We can replace the x squared plus 12x plus 36 with x plus something squared. Now what goes in here is just the half of the x coefficient that gets used in there. If you multiply it out, if you did the FOIL thing, x plus 6 times x plus 6 would make x squared plus 12x plus 36. Then on the other side, negative 5 and 36 adds up to 31. Once we have it saying something squared equals a number, the smart thing to do now is take the square root of both sides. And on the variable side, we take the square root of the parentheses. On the numerical side, we say plus or minus the square root of 31. Okay, so on this side, the square root of the square of x plus 6 leaves us with just x plus 6. On the other side, we have this not perfect square number, 31, so we leave it square root 31. We could change it to a decimal. It would be 5 point something, but we don't want to do that. We want to leave that as written. Get rid of the 6, and we've got x all by itself. It says x plus 6, so we take away 6 from both sides, or equivalently, we add negative 6 to both sides, and I'm going to pop it in right after the equal sign so it looks like this. And it's important to know that this represents two answers to the equation, two solutions. Negative 6 plus the square root of 31 and negative 6 minus the square root of 31. And you could change this square root 31 to a decimal with a calculator, and negative 6 plus that decimal or negative 6 minus that decimal would be the two solutions, the two numbers you could use if you were using this for like an engineering application or something of that type. So hopefully that helps get you started with solving by completing the square. Bye-bye.